Going everywhere.
It was dusty, it was dirty.
You're all dirty and gritty, and then you're crunching on your sandwich.
With the budget that they had, it wasn't going to be a picnic ever. And we all knew it going in.
Every time the other family one of the actors would complain about conditions, or I'm sore, or I got an owie.
I hate it out here.
Just uncomfortable, that's all.
It's more than uncomfortable.
Ooh, Jimmy and I and Lance, we would unmercifully tease them, call them babies, crybabies, wusses.
You toughen up because, you know, you don't get pampered like you do on a TV set or whatever. And you learn to just go with it.
I went home all beat up, but it was worth it. I felt a job well done.
I just would roll up my sleeves and just dive into it. I loved going to work every day.
They were hardworking guys and girls, and they liked what they were doing. They were really committed to this picture.
Honey, the entire crew and cast had to be committed because you couldn't do it in the conditions that we had to do it in if you weren't. It truly was people that wanted to get started in a business, and they were going to do what they had to do it.
I think the morale on the shoot actually got better as we went along. When we started, the crew had just come off of a Corman film, and they were just completely burned out because they were made to go so fast, and they had been working around the clock.
Right when you're running out of steam, you have to keep your nose to the grindstone.
I remember them being kind of short-tempered and kind of edgy with us for the first couple of weeks.
We were just trying to get the thing done.
I think when Eric Saarinen finally realized that we were out to do something kind of unusual and something that could be a little classic, it started to change.
I think we were influenced by Wes's, constant desire to make it better. And he was obviously a very talented guy and determined to do good filmmaking. Wes had a vision, and, I think people are attracted to people who have a vision.
I was completely knocked out by the Greek and Roman mythological tales. They were very primal, they were full of blood and gore and betrayal. The reason that those myths have stayed for so long is because they really nailed certain things about the human condition. They were carrying our cultures in a way that was elemental, boiled down to the barest bones of what we're all about. And my God, if you can do that, it'll be a really good horror film. You're totally justified in being here, and it will require of you all of your intelligence and intuition.
Wes Craven, he's a fabulous director to work with. He's very quiet spoken and very gentle, but yet he's a powerhouse. He's an actor's director.
This is a quiet, intellectual, introverted guy with a baseball cap that looked bigger than his head.
I remember Wes as just being very solid.
He knows his shots. He knows exactly what he wants. And there's no mystery about it. He's a sharp guy. He used to be a teacher. He's still a teacher.
There was a lot of hype around his name, new and up and coming and really important new director and all that stuff.
But I really, really thought throughout the production that Wes Craven would never make it as a director. Good Lord, this guy is never going to make it. He was just far too shy. And Wes went on to, continue to scare the crap out of America. Peter Locke was much more aggressive on the set. The producer jumping around, stand over here, talk up, okay, emote, really emote.
He was a nice guy. I mean, for a producer, he was a nice guy. Producers, they're not all nice.
I was on the set all the time. I was a hands-on producer, and that causes tension between the director and the producer.
I can remember there are times when I just hated Peter because he would be standing behind me saying, shoot, 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 shoot.
We had to shoot a schedule. We were going to run out of money.
And Eric Saarinen and I, the DP, would be like, if we get this shadow here.
It's a triangle. There's fast, cheap, and good. And you can have 2 out of 3 of those things, but you can never have all 3.
And of course, Peter's there, shoot, shoot.
It's the same thing over and over again. I need this, and I can't afford this. And you want to be able to get everything that the director wants. But when you can't, you have to go to him and say, this is all we can do.
It was a very real struggle between a young producer trying to get the thing shot on time and a director with artistic aspirations.
When I read the script and I read the part about the tarantula, I actually went, I don't know if I can do this part because they're just hairy and disgusting. They kept the little sucker in a little box or something. And I think at one point the handler actually had me put my arm out and let it crawl up my arm so I could just get used to it. And I didn't play with it very much. Working with that hairy little tarantula was not a piece of cake for me. I mean, I didn't have to act much in that scene, that's for sure. That was very hard for me.
There was the sort of dimorphism between Beauty and the Beast, which was the theme of the movie.
Brendan, don't.
Beauty gets killed and then Beast takes revenge.
The dogs were delightful.
Okay, go, go.
They loved the attention. They loved to hit their mark. The bionic dog Brackett was just wonderful. She's, oh, I'm in the mood. She was just such a good critter.
And of course, the animals are always treated better than the cast members. It's true. It's so true on any show.
Our art director, Bob Burns, had just come from doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and he had what he called his kit, and that was a truckload of just camouflage netting and skulls and bones and all these weird things that had been part of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The cave, for instance, where the Farrell family lived, he just went in there and made that place, triple creepy. The gas station was a real place. I believe we brought in the pumps, but it was literally an abandoned gas station out in the middle of nowhere. The desert is just full of surprises.
My favorite scene is with Grandpa Fred, when he's explaining to the father what's going on.
Car skidded off the road, we broke an axle. Now they're back at the trailer, and they're all okay.
Like hell they are. Give me that booze. It's something you should know about.
John Stedman just really was an asset to the production. He lent it so much realism.
I was in town getting supplies, and the whole damn house burned to the ground. My little baby girl was a cinder when I found her, but this monster kid wasn't even singed. I knew he'd done it. I hit him with a tire iron and I split his face wide open.
That was a long time ago.
Long enough to raise a passel of wild kids. Long enough for a devil kid to grow up to be a devil man.
The film was obviously very extreme.
Stuff that
Pretty far out for the time. It broke every single barrier of propriety and everything else.
It's a really rough movie.
It's a horror film.
I was feeling very strongly that if you're going to show violence on film, it should seem real and grab the audience and make them feel like they were in real life when it got brutal.
I think that's where the waters that we had jumped into. So if you go in there, you're going to go there.
All the sort of gory things, you want to see that in this kind of film. I mean, it wasn't gratuitous violence, it was violence. There's nothing gratuitous about it. That's what it was supposed to be.
It was kind of grim. But the actual filming of the violence, I remember being acutely aware that this is play acting. It's play acting, and then you put it together, and it's very real. The script called for the death of Daddy. He was to be tied to a tree and torched, and there are no trees in the desert. Peter Locke, the producer, solved that problem by looking around and making sure no one was coming, and then tying him to a Joshua tree, which is a protected species. In the middle of the night, they torched the Joshua tree. Burned up the man.
Virginia Vincent, I think, brought a tremendous sense of veracity to the film. My God, she had to go through such tremendous arcs of feelings.
That's not my Bob. That's not my Bob. That's not my Bob. That's not my... No, it's not Bob.
Virginia Vincent, I think, had that trait of just making everything real, She did a great job.
Your dog made sport of my blood, you pig.
I'm gonna kill your kids for that. You come out here and stick your life in my face.
That scene where Jupiter is eating the arm of the father while he's talking to his head. It was right out of Goya. There's a famous painting by Goya of Cronus devouring his children, literally biting off a piece of one of his sons. For Papa Jupe, we wanted somebody with just tremendous personality, and I thought of James Whitworth. He had this wonderful booming voice and just a great sort of physical authority.
I'm gonna watch your goddamn car rush down. Yes, I will. I'll see the wind blow your dried up seeds away.
He started laughing on doing those lines.
I'll eat the brains of your kids.
You know, that whole diatribe was just like too much. That was a leg of lamb roast. And we were all hungry. It'd been a long time since lunch. It was late at night, and we still had to drive back to the hotel. We knew everything would be closed, and well, that tastes pretty damn good, you know. It was so wrong, but it was wonderful.
Mercury, you paying attention, Mercury? You know how to use that thing? Huh, Mercury?
Peter Locke decided he wanted to do a cameo, says, okay, well, you'll be somebody called Mercury. You'll be like the Watchman.
That was it. I became Mercury.
He's up on the hill, and he's got the feathers on, and he goes,
Papa Jupe be so happy. Maybe I make a joke like last time and eat the toes.
and I answer, and he goes,
Okay, Pluto.
and then the dog pushes him.
That was Peter's cameo.
We were all very vicious.
Papa Jupiter, is he in Mars?
You and Pluto in Mars?
We in, Papa, we in.
We just would go shopping, and anybody in our neighborhood was basically Meals on Wheels.
And I don't think we knew everything that was going to happen in the trailer. So it made the intensity much stronger.
The drama of it quite often is so extreme or so bizarre that it has to be done kind of as you do it.
I'd ask him to stage it.
And then you'll rehearse it for blocking and, you know, for general where the lights go.
And then we'd figure out what are the cool angles to shoot this at.
So it was all just handheld stuff.
When we were confident about our dry run and we knew where everything was, we just went for it.
I think one of the most significant scenes was the rape scene with Michael Berryman and myself. Wes was nervous about that scene because it was one of the first scenes that we shot of the entire movie. I had secretly whispered to Michael, when he calls action, let's really make out. And then they throw back that curtain. There was Michael and I doing this very romantic love scene, just very passionate. It was not a rape scene at all. Everybody, the crew, went into hysterics. It was so funny. And then Wes came over later and he said, thank you so much for breaking the ice and making everybody so comfortable with the scene. And it really made Michael and I able to commit to what we had to do. When he called action again, of course, we really, you know, did the rape scene. And just to be able to scream and be raped, I love the commitment to it.
She got into that, and it was terribly frightening. I don't think the screams left my head for 10 years. The cast knew what they were doing, and they acted in a way that made you feel it was real.
Women coming. Mars. Just get what we came for and get out.
I remember Dee Wallace being good at being scared. She was such a gifted actress that you would watch her break down and everybody would be all shook up.
Where the hell are you going with my baby?
Yeah.
My technique demands that I get my energy incredibly high. So I'm like this inside, and I'm all ready to like be attacked by these people. And I remember Wes going, all right, quiet on the set. Quiet on the set. And everybody just kept talking. And inside, I'm building and building. And I remember screaming, quiet! And everybody's headphones went, whoa! flew off their head, and I went, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm just so ready to do this scene. It doesn't take a lot on the page for me to understand who a mother with a little tiny baby would feel out in the desert when people are getting killed. I mean, she fought for that kid.
The terror aspect of that scene, it still holds so strong today. It created such a horrific element of entrapment. That room was really small, and it was just terrifying. And there's no way out. And then when he shoots Dee Wallace, and then the mom, especially when we stole the baby. The tension is so extreme at that point. When I watch it, I'm almost like jumping up on my feet and going, no, stop! You can't. This just has to cease. We can't. This cannot continue. Of course, it's supposed to crescendo like that.
I come back for you later, girlie.
It really sets up the rest of the tension.
Because in life, in real life situations, things befall you. The test of your mettle is how you can respond. They have to get out of this again through their own devices.
I think the film, has a lot of substance to it. It's about how resourceful this family turned out to be when everything was stripped away from them.
They got food, ammo, they killed Dad and Lynn, and they got the baby, and they're gonna be back. What are we gonna do?
People respond to the question of what would I do if I had nothing but myself to respond to some great evil,
Maybe it's that, saber-toothed tiger thing.
Why are you doing this?
That very deep instinctive need to fight back.
What do you want?
That stuff survives all the generations.
It's a universal, ancient question, and the film is full of that question and some answers for it.
Damn you!
How even the most civilized person, if pushed far enough, could become an absolute killer.
Kill the baby!
Don't do it, time away. I don't want to see it.
I remember that being an option, killing the baby, and I would not have gone along with that. If they wanted to, I would have said, well, it's a mistake. The baby was so wonderful. You couldn't kill that baby. We loved that baby. And it was the sweetest little thing. We had to force it to cry. The scene where it's in the crib looking up, those little cute little eyes. You can't kill a baby. You just can't. A kid, okay, but a baby, no.
I know that there was a phrase that went around the cast and crew, if you kill the baby, we're leaving.
Well, I think all of us kind of felt that way.
It was like, if you kill that baby, I'm out of here.
There has to be something you walk away from the picture going, thank God.
I just remember people walking around all the time going, kill the baby.
You couldn't kill the baby.
Kill the baby.
I don't think that would have been a wise choice at all.
Yeah, the baby had to live. The baby had to live.
Wes had the tension built up so well at that point. It was wonderfully hideous. And then we get ours. I was a little concerned that maybe the dog would bite through the moccasin that I was wearing. And so I asked Mo DeCesso, our handler, I go, Mo, I will listen to you. I'll do exactly what you ask. How do we work